Hi, everyone, and welcome back for episode 22 of the Simply Whelmed podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
Oh, come on, more energy than that.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we have the show for you. I really wanted to run that bit longer on you, just see how many times you could go, come on, dude. Like, more than that, you're like, how we doing, everybody?
Well, I'll level with you. I'm getting all frothy about the thought of sushi.
Ew.
Like, I'm just,
Why are you frothy?
Oh. I'll tell you why.
Never mind. I don't want to know. I was going to say which part of you is frothy.
It's raw meat in my mouth, and that's just what I'm hankering for.
It's like a Pavlovian
sushi, of course.
Response,
Sushi. Talking about sushi.
Yeah, the Pavlovian response of just the taste of raw fish on your tongue. Yeah. Get you all watery. That's horrendous. This week we've got a little bit of downtime between significant releases.
I just totally manipulate it and just be like, it said here, Colin from Simply Whelmed Podcast is homophobic. He says that liking raw meat is horrific.
I was like, wait, what? Why is that?
Wait.
What? No. You interrupted me. Like, yeah, that's our whole thing. That's basically what the show is. No, so this week we have a bit of downtime between significant releases, and we thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about cryptids and just general creatures in pop culture with... oh, yeah, and Chris made me put this in my notes, so everybody don't forget to laugh here. I wrote, what with Prey coming out this Friday, and he made me spell it coming as in the verb, and not like the sexual verb. Coming out this Friday, and Chris's Cryptid Corner creeping up on us with a deep dive on, and I put in quotes here, UFOs.
I forgot I made you put that in there. I remember the coming, but I forgot the UFOs.
Yeah. And then I put in brackets, don't forget to laugh here. It's a joke, of course.
Shit gets me every time. It gets me every time.
It's funny. He does comedy, everybody.
We got dots in here.
We got jokes. We got a regular fucking George Carlin in the room, everybody.
Fucking Yucko the Clown.
Oh, fuck. Bozo the Clown over here. So no, before we talk about our favorite pop culture creatures, I have to say, talking about Buffo the Clown, I have the most horrendous story, and I honestly don't know if it's even appropriate for the podcast. Sorry, everybody. We decided that it was, in fact, not appropriate for the podcast.
That is awful.
That's horrendous. So before we talk about, all these creatures in pop culture...
Let's talk about that creature in pop culture.
About that creature. That beast of a thing. We have to discuss... We've got actually pretty light news, honestly. I was doing some research, and I thought since we'd had the big... Comic-Con news last week that we'd missed some stuff, but really it's pretty uneventful. Though I do want to, this was new between me writing this and actually us getting here, really terrible breakneck turn into a segue here. Hold on, I want to pull up all the info I need here. Obviously I'll cut out the dead space here. Yeah, Nichelle Nichols, who was Lieutenant Uhura in the original Star Trek series, passed away at 89 yesterday.
Oh.
So obviously a massive, that's a pretty major groundbreaking role, obviously in pop culture, but also just in general. Figure that was in the mid to early 60s, and for her to be, an African-American person playing a role that is also, the character was of, high stature.
Yeah.
Are you sending me fucking memes while I'm talking about someone passing away?
No, I'm not.
Then what is this? First of all, the fact that you're scrolling memes while we're doing the podcast, you fuck. And second of all, I'm talking about an icon dying, and you're like, here's a bird with an egg stuck. You're a monster.
One, I wasn't scrolling through memes.
How disrespectful.
Honest to God, I had one cryptid screenshot that I was going to talk about because I found it on my phone, and I was scrolling through, and I found that, and I just got the giggle, and I had to send it to you. You're the first thing I thought of, all right?
Well, now let me make you feel like a piece of shit. According to a statement from Nichols' son, Kyle Johnson, he said, last night my mother, Nichelle Nichols, succumbed to natural causes and passed away. Her light, however, like the ancient galaxies now being seen for the first time, will remain for us and future generations to enjoy, learn from, and draw inspiration.
Yikes.
Yeah, so.
R.I.P.
You piece of shit. So the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. actually called her portrayal on the crew that it's like the first non-stereotypical role portrayed by a black woman in television history. And so even, it's strange to think about that something like Star Trek and like the Civil Rights Movement and all of that really do all coincide.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, she was a major, and you figure her and, oh my God, I just completely lost his name. William Shatner shared the first interracial kiss on television. So, just a really groundbreaking person. And yeah, it's obviously a terrible loss, but at 89, that's, and it's nice that it sounds like it was peaceful and she was with her family and it was natural causes. It wasn't a major, sometimes that you hear about like losing battles with cancer, and that's never, obviously a peaceful way to go. But, and a bunch of people have gone on to, share their thoughts, like George Takei, who was Sulu. He posted a touching tribute. Obviously, Zoe Saldana, who played her in the new movies, posted some very nice things about her. And yeah, there's just been a bunch of people coming out talking about how much of a lovely person she was. And I know that she was one that always still went to the all the different Comic-Cons and things like that, and loved to interact with the fans. And so even at her age, she was still out interacting with the fans and didn't seem like one of those people that kind of like hates the attention she gets. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like not to put it in a bad way, but like Harrison Ford, he hates
Star Wars. Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's obviously a shame, it's a loss, but she had so much impact that it's not she won't be forgotten or lost.
Right.
Are you good?
Yeah. Why?
Just as I'm talking about her, all I hear is you adjusting your mic.
Oh, sorry. sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, so that was that. I didn't have any of that written down. That was, like I said, I saw that after I'd already prepared the news. But I thought that's definitely somebody you got to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, all serious. R.I.P. Rest in peace.
So, and there's no good way to segue out of it in memoriam. So I'm just going to jump into the fact that Jason Momoa announced on Instagram that he and Ben Affleck would be starring alongside each other in the upcoming Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Aquaman,
which is currently scheduled to release in March of 2023. Now, this is news insofar as we knew that Ben Affleck would appear as Batman in the Flash, which is now due out in June of next year. And it honestly had kind of made it sound the way that it was announced and his just the things he said publicly, that like he was done with the character. And then when everybody heard about the Flash, everybody was like, okay, well, maybe that's his last appearance. And it'll be like, they'll do some multiversal stuff. Hey, we need you to come in just so we can clean up the story and replace you, right? That kind of thing. But now it sounds like, he's going to show up in other projects, and it makes me wonder, after he, made a public announcement that, like, I am retiring from this role, and he made that announcement back in 2019. I find it funny that they keep luring him back in, and it's like, are they throwing money at him, or is he having a change of heart? Is there different management that maybe he thinks he can do it? Because I know that between Batman v Superman and Justice League, he was having a lot of personal issues. You figure that's when he went through like his alcoholism and went to rehab, and he had his divorce from Jennifer Garner and things like that. And it was a really tumultuous time in his life. And he actually was originally supposed to star in The Batman, and he wrote the original script for The Batman. And obviously it changed probably pretty drastically from what he had originally written. But he showed his script to somebody, and they were like, yeah, and he was supposed to direct it as well. And he showed the script that he had to somebody at Warner Brothers, and they were like, I really like this, but if you do this, you'll drink yourself to death if you have to do this and go through what you just did in the last, 4 years. And so he kind of decided that, he needed to step away from it.
I didn't know that he wrote it.
Yeah. So not the one that we ended up getting.
Right, but like a mock-up of it.
Yeah, he was originally, he was going to direct, write, and star in The Batman, which did eventually become the Batman version that we got. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a text. It looked important at first, but we're okay.
What was it? My meme?
No.
Allegedly.
I said it looked important. But yeah, so yeah, we're getting old Benny Affleck back as Batman, and I think I wonder, like I said, are they luring him back in? Is he in a better spot? Is he gonna continue to play the Batman?
I figure it. Excuse me. I figure it is probably something that has to do with money.
Yeah, they're paying him enough to come back. Everybody's got their price, you know.
But hopefully they're
Whether
doing
it's-
easier stuff, and he's over
Yeah.
his battle with alcohol and everything like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't keep up too much on.
Like celeb gossip and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty public about the fact that he did go to rehab and all that, and he does seem to be in a better place. He and Jennifer Lopez, right, just got married.
Okay.
And so I think he's probably in a better place, so which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see it. I had more fun watching the original Aquaman than I did watching any of the other DC movies, other than maybe Wonder Woman, the original recipe. But so I mean, I'll go see Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, especially. I didn't dislike Ben Affleck's Batman. I just disliked the movies he was in.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see how he interacts outside of, like, it's very barely the Snyderverse now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see how he plays. And he might only be a brief role, but I do think the last thing I wanted to point out about this is that apparently the whole reason it became known is because they were caught on set by a fucking Warner Brothers tour group, like a lot tour, where you just get on a bus and get toured around like Warner Brothers studios. And like, why the fuck was it not a closed set? And like a bus tour can just roll up on Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa and just be like, oh yeah, you guys are fucking Batman and Aquaman, and this is the Aquaman set.
I just imagine them. Oh no, we should be fine leaving this door open. Oh fuck, that's a bus.
Fuck, shit.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck, that's a bus.
Damn it. And I just love the contrast between that and then to hear like somebody talk about a Marvel movie and hearing them just do tap dancing trying to avoid the fucking Disney snipers, you know? Where they're like, as soon as I make a wrong slip, I'm off. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then you just got fucking Warner Brothers raw dogging it, letting a tour bus roll in. They're just, fuck it! Well, what are you gonna do, you know?
Yeah, you know.
That's just, you know, the difference.
That's what we. That's what we call in the biz. The biz.
The biz.
That's just
talking about Marvel. The Hollywood Reporter has revealed, exclusively as they put it, they got the scoop, that Avengers Kang Dynasty is going to be directed by the Shang-Chi director, Destin Daniel Cretton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so apparently in the wake of like Shang-Chi's success, Marvel and Cretton penned some sort of deal together. I didn't get a lot of details on what that deal entailed, other than that it's why we have multiple projects confirmed to be in development with him, including him co-creating that Wonder Man series that we're waiting to hear more about.
Yes.
And then a sequel to Shang-Chi, and then, of course, the first of the two Avengers films that are going to come out in 2025.
Yes.
And the other thing about the fact that we're getting those two Avengers films, the Russo brothers, who've done quite a bit for Marvel, figure they did Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then Infinity War and Endgame. They've been pretty vocal that they would like to do a Secret Wars movie. And Kevin Feige, like, came out and basically was like, yeah, they're not involved with Secret Wars.
Which sucks, because I really like the Russo brothers.
But also, can you believe anything that comes out of Kevin Feige's mouth at this point? And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just his whole job is, you know, smoke and mirrors and, you know, misdirection, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe the fact that he's saying that is like, are they involved? You know what I mean? Pay no mind to the man behind the mirror, you know, behind the curtain. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited because the fucking fights in Shang-Chi are very intense, very exciting, pretty creative. He shoots action very well. And so I'm like, ooh, that'd be kind of cool to see a big scale, you know, something like an Avengers level movie with that style of fighting included in it.
Yeah. I'm going to be the first one to say it. All right. I'm very excited for all the Marvel that's about to come out.
Yeah.
But it also feels a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is a lot. Like, I feel like it's almost going to feel like a chore to make sure I'm on it and keep up with it.
Keep up on it. Yeah. That's what I worry about too, because you figure they announced the next 3 phases basically. Well, the rest of this phase and then the next 2 phases, and it's only going to get us through 3 years. So we're basically moving at a phase a year almost.
Holy shit! They've gone plaid.
And you figure it took them 10 years. Yes, it took them 10 years to do the first 3 phases.
Yeah,
and now they're cramming that down into 4 years basically.
It just feels like a lot.
Yeah, and like to see their. Go ahead.
It's because of the Batman movie. They listened to this. They listened to our podcast, and they said, "Oh shit, they're onto something. They know it." Like Chris, he was on it. So I'll take what's the one meme? Somebody bring me my money.
I'll take a paycheck here, please. But yeah, no, I agree. It does feel like a lot, and like to look at their release, like the timelines that they put up on the screens and stuff. It's like, man, that is a lot. And then to add on the fact that, like, because a lot of them are like Disney Plus series and things like that to keep up on. So it's not just I got to go see a movie. It's a week after week. I've got to keep up on the show.
Yeah.
And then depending on how packed in they are, it might overlap and you've got to keep up on 2 shows. And then we're both Star Wars people. So then there's going to be Star Wars shows coming up. I worry that I'm going to get like a sensory overload. And I'm going to have to start making decisions on what media I want to actually enjoy and consume. And it's like, at what point does recreation become a job,
And what scares me is I already have a massive fucking list to catch up on.
Right, yeah, so now you're going to get outpaced. I don't know, man.
We could just quit our jobs and do this full time.
Yeah, I'm down. We just got to also make money off of this, though.
Money.
Let's just... Money. We'll just start putting ads in it every fucking 10 minutes. It's just a slog to get through.
What is it? Blue Chew?
Blue Chew?
Yeah, I always see shit for Blue Chew. It's like basically Viagra.
God,
and like I'm seeing that everywhere.
Have you ever heard of cookies?
No.
That's so cookies is like your fucking the internet and stuff learns from what you look at and is like knows what to advertise to you. So why does the internet think it's got to advertise little blue pills to you?
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you liked it, make sure you tell your friends. Word of mouth is a huge thing for us.
Oh man, speaking of word of mouth,
hands on some Blue Chew, send them my way.
Yeah, apparently. I like you never heard of Blue Chew? And I'm like, nope. Like, oh man, it's everywhere. And I'm like, I wonder why.
Not everywhere,
it's jokes, There's old George Carlin again. Yucko the clown.
Bozo the clown.
Yeah. And then, honestly, when I wasn't joking, it's a pretty brief news week. My last piece here is we got news on the GTA 6 protagonists.
Yeah, aren't we playing as GTA is one of their first women protagonists?
Yeah, so GTA 6 is reportedly going to be the first 3D game of the series that has a female protagonist. Because the first game in the original, in the series was like the 2D top down, and it did have a female protagonist. So this is the first of the 3D games, and apparently the story is going to be heavily inspired by Bonnie and Clyde, and so it's going to feature a couple who rob banks together. And so it sounds like from this was a report from Bloomberg on GTA what is the company? Fucking Rockstar. And they were talking about their progress on GTA 6 because it's kind of the next big thing that they're looking for out of them as a company, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with the success of GTA 5. From a money standpoint, we want to see how GTA 6 does. Well, it sounds like we're probably going to see a return of that concept of just the switching characters on the fly, kind of like we saw in GTA 5.
Which I
think, and I don't mind the idea of it only being 2 people, because then you get to be a little bit more fleshed out with each of them, as opposed to having to worry about fleshing out 3 characters altogether,
right?
And potentially skimping on any of them. You can
I did feel like I
focused on 2 of them.
I did feel like I skipped a lot out on Trevor. in GTA
Yeah,
5.
same.
I played as Franklin and Michael a lot, which sucks because I really like Trevor's character. But no.
I think a lot of Trevor was more interesting to interact with Trevor as opposed to as Trevor.
Yeah.
Did you just fart?
No way.
Because I swear to God, I heard just a.
Oh, it's my chair.
Like I swear to God, chair, and you just can't recreate it. Like when you try and step on the creaky floorboard, it was the floor. I swear. I
farted. Is that what you want to hear me say?
I shit in my pants.
That's something I got to talk about.
Oh Jesus! The fact that shitting your pants is like eureka! Can I finish talking about GTA 6 real quick?
I suppose.
All right, we'll put a pin in the poop in your pants story. So the launch version of GTA 6 is said to take place in a Miami-like city, so probably a return to Vice City.
Yes.
And its surrounding areas, with more missions and cities themselves being added over time. So I don't know if it's DLC or if it's like a games as a service kind of thing, where just over time they're going to add content to keep you coming back.
I'm curious if they are recreating Vice City, but I also know Los Santos was like the biggest map they've ever made. So I'm curious if they're, like you were saying, they're going to add expansions to the map, or if they're just going to make everything super interactable, like all the shops on the street.
Well, so that was one of the things that apparently I thought I copy-pasted the quote. Basically, they said something to the effect, that's going to bother me, hold on, I'm going to try and pull it up, but basically that it has the most interiors of any game that they've ever made.
Good. So I'd be okay with them keeping it a smaller map, but more
smaller
interactive.
map, but yeah, exactly. If like the square footage of places I can go is higher, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Kind of how they talked. I mean, granted, it didn't end up being the case, but kind of how they talked about Cyberpunk 2077. That like, yes, it was a small map relative to like some of the other open world games, but because of the sheer number of buildings that you could go into and the levels of the buildings, there is honestly quite a bit of area that you could explore. Yeah, kind of like you're saying, I would be okay with that. You know, if that was the case that they went with here. Let's see here. Is this it here? Yeah, let's see. So apparently, per the report, the game is codenamed Project Americas, due to the fact that the original plan would include huge territories based on both North and South America, but that was later scrapped in part to reduce crunch for employees. So it's not. It sounds like it's going to be more localized to just the Miami area. Where's that spot here?
I was hoping to see that. What is it whenever you have like you're shooting something in like South America or Mexico? There's always like that yellow filter,
the Breaking Bad orange filter for for Mexico.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a little bit of that.
Now I can't find the quote here, but yeah, it was something to do with the fact that the interiors. It was the most interior, like accessible interiors in the series.
Then I'd be cool with it. Yeah,
but yeah.
Either way, I'd be cool with it.
And I don't mind, depending on how they do it. I don't want it to become a nickel and diming thing, but I'm okay with maybe them combining the idea of GTA Online. You know, the fact that they slowly keep rolling out content so that you come back to keep playing the game, right? But as long as there's worthwhile content to come back to, and it's not like, okay, well they keep producing stuff for this game, but it doesn't feel like I'm getting any money's worth out of it.
Sure.
I don't want it to become a hollow thing, because I think it's a dangerous game to play of like the games as a service. But yeah.
No. So let me tell you.
Yeah, tell me about you shitting your britches.
Yeah, well, let me take you back to where it all started.
Oh, fuck.
It was a nice summer day.
2001.
Yeah. No. So, I was driving home from work, and a buddy called, and I was like, "Hey, you wanna come over, catch up, grab a beer? We haven't talked in a while." I was like, "Yeah, sure." One of my good high school friends. And so I went over and we had a beer and we're just sitting there talking. And a couple beers later, we're still hanging out talking. And he was like, "Oh, hey, you want to go to the bar?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." To the bar, la-di-da-di-da. Next thing you know, we got drunk, and then I came home and went to bed. Woke up the next morning, and first things first, I'm like, "Oh, yes, I must shit." So I walk over, start spraying the bowl, and then I'm like sitting there scrolling on TikTok, watching everything, and my stomach starts to gurgle, and I'm like, right on cue. So I, flush the toilet, so I'm not throwing up in a shit-filled toilet. Stand up, give it a minute, and then I put my hands on my knees, and the second I throw up, I shit myself, and like my head
Look like a
jolted
fucking
up.
fountain at the park, just coming out of different directions.
My head jolted up, and instantly I started crying.
Yeah, you got to.
And then I just got in the shower, and I still went to work. Like
you got to, but man, Jesus, it's called the liquor shits, baby.
Yeah, those were not fun. Yeah, it was just scary because it snuck up on me. I trusted myself more than I should have. But say la vie.
Just one time when I was like 11, I did the same thing, except I wasn't plastered. I was sick.
Word.
And my fucking mom left myself and my older sister alone. Like, she had to go to the tire shop or something. I don't remember. Mom had to get the oil changed or whatever. But basically, tells my sister, you're in charge of your brother. Keep an eye on. I'm sick. I should be pretty easy to manage. I'm just going to lay on the couch and be sad, right?
Right.
And I get up and I go running into the bathroom because I'm going to puke. And we had a bucket like just inside the bathroom door, so I knew I just got to get to the bucket, And so I go sprinting in there, and I drop down on my hands and knees, and I start puking in the bucket, and I just poop all over myself. And I mean, there's just so much of it, and it's running down the leg of my fucking boxer briefs, and I'm just crying. And my fucking mean old sister is just pointing and laughing at me, which makes it worse, and I'm crying and puking. And every time I sob more, I'm crying and puking, and then there's some pooping in there too. Every time I heave, just more shit pushes out, and I can't do anything because I'm actively violently vomiting.
Right.
And so then I just I'm like, help me, and she's like, no, yuck, And I'm
I'm a human being,
not an animal. So I just fucking got up eventually and shuffled into the bathroom and just got in the bathtub.
I just imagine you crawling out.
Basically, I mean, I didn't. I crawled in, so I'm because I'm worried about it getting on the fucking carpet and stuff, so I'm trying to get up over onto the linoleum. Yeah, it wasn't great. And that bitch didn't even listen to the show.
You have a 1,000-yard stare while you tell that. You have a 1,000-yard stare while you tell this story. It's just so traumatizing.
Yeah, just the wave flashback, Yeah, but who hasn't shit their pants hard like that?
Liars. They haven't. Say that. Oh, but moving on. Switching gears. If you were all finished.
Oh yeah, I'm set, baby.
So, for the past, excuse me, allow me to take a couple steps back. Welcome back to Chris's...
Hold on. You pump the brakes, my guy. We're not in Chris's Cryptid Corner yet.
Well, alright.
This isn't a dedication to you. We're going to talk about cryptids and creatures in pop culture, as I stated. And then you can tell us whatever you have when we get to the what you're thinking about section.
Alright. My apologies. I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. I was having too
much fun. Trying to hijack this son of a bitch. So, with creatures and cryptids in pop culture in mind, which is pretty a wide net that we cast on purpose. It could be a fucking internet meme, it could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be a video game, it could be a fucking radio show from the 30s.
Yes.
What you got for me?
So... Oh, shit. Let me get out of all my stuff I had pulled up. Yep. No.
Blue Chew.
Me? Yeah, I'm just deleting Blue Chew. I just have pictures pulled up and I'm just looking at it. What the fuck? No, it's not.
Yeah, Blue Chew if you want to sponsor us.
Okay. Wait a second while it loads. I'm not gonna lie, I did come pretty empty-handed with this, because Cryptic Corner is pretty busy today.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and start off, huh?
I thought you were ready today.
I thought I was too.
Well, I like that. As soon as I brought up the topic, you're like, I didn't know you were going to throw a curveball at me. It's literally the topic we discussed. I like that you're just chronically unprepared.
Easy.
Good gracious. No, we're going to sit here and wait. I got to send an email here real quick. You go ahead and find what you're doing. We'll wait.
You sent an email to the next co-host.
Email my dad. Dad, I think you're on, bud.
You're on deck. The Legends of Bigfoot. I'm doing Bigfoot.
I gathered.
Yeah. The Legends of Bigfoot
wait.
go
So
back.
are you just reading what Bigfoot the Cryptid is, or are you going to talk about him in movies and stuff?
Well, I just figured I'd start off with what Bigfoot is, who he is, and where he came from, and then I was going to talk about the game Bigfoot.
All right, word.
Yeah. So, the legends of Bigfoot go back beyond recorded history and cover in the world. In North America, and particularly the Northwest, you can hear tales of 7-foot-tall hairy men stalking the woods, occasionally scaring campers, lumberjack hikers, and the like. That just sounds like homeless people.
I was going to say it's just
on
big
stilts.
Yeah.
I got a
it's
buddy.
Just two hairy hobos on one on the other one's shoulders, like they're trying to get into an adult movie,
scaring campers, making them drop their stuff. Bigfoot is known by many titles with many different cultures, although the name Bigfoot is generally attributed to the mountainous western region of North America. The common name Sasquatch comes from Sam Squanch, the Salish Squatits, while the Algonquin of the north central region of the continent refer it to a Wendigo or Wendigo. Oh shit! Other nations tell a large creature that, much like a man, but imbued with powers and characteristics. The Northern Plains believe that the Rougarou appeared in times of danger, and other nations. Okay, hold on, it just stops. There's a picture. Hold on.
We could probably
just like it.
The game Bigfoot. Like people know what Bigfoot is.
All right.
I mean, if you're interested in bringing up the history of everything, that's cool. But I didn't plan on doing that for everybody.
Yeah, I just figured. Let me see here. Let me pull up the video game.
You just start playing the game, and you're like, all right, so I'm walking through the woods. And you just start giving us, it's not even a video, you're just giving us play-by-play. Like descriptive audio for the deaf or for the blind.
I'm setting up cameras.
Shit, he's got me! He's got me!
Colin, where are you? No, so Finding Bigfoot is the video game. It looks like here is made back in 2017, so a little bit ago. Let's see. The directors are Dmitry and Stanislav Zinkinko? No, I don't know, man. I'm trying my best, all right?
Wait, so you're talking about Finding Bigfoot or the game that you and I play?
The game you and I play.
The game you and I play is just called Bigfoot.
Oh, word. Well, it's Finding Bigfoot here has everything of what we're talking about, and it's playing videos.
Shit, they're putting out a new Yellowstone Park map.
Yeah, dude, I saw that. We gotta play that. No, so it looks like it still came out in 2017. It's developed by Cyberlight Game Studio, and the engine's Unreal Engine. But basically, I mean, you and I play this shit all the time.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, but basically, you're playing as... You can either play as Bigfoot or as the Hunter, which I'm not gonna lie, playing as the Hunter is a little more fun.
Yeah.
But you have...
It's a lot more fun to have the AI play Bigfoot.
Yeah. How many days do you have?
I don't know that you really got a time limit.
But he gets harder.
But there's limited supplies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the longer
he gets
it goes,
more aggressive.
The longer it goes, the worse off you are.
Yeah. But you're trying to...
I'll tell you what, he's a fucking tank.
He is, dude. But the whole premise of it is you're trying to kill him, right? Trying to take him out.
Are the victory conditions that you kill him, or you get like the pictures of like basically all the evidence of Bigfoot and what happened to those campers?
I think so. If so, I haven't won it that way.
We've always won by killing them.
Yeah, but the thing is like finding all the evidence. We got all the bodies because there's a group of campers that went and they all died, and but they went missing, quote unquote. And you find all of them, and we found all the bodies, but there was still other stuff to be found, like clues and evidence. But yeah, so you're just trying to collect as much info and everything like that. But it's this huge park, and you got to set up cameras, booby traps, bait. But he can also set up traps where it's like, what are those traps in the tree where you step on the rope and it grabs your ankle?
Snare.
Yeah. A bunch of stuff like that. But man, like, he will rock your shit.
Yeah, it's intense. He comes stomping out of the woods all of a sudden at you, and we scream like bitches. We're swinging and running and shooting, and it's not great.
But we came down to the conclusion. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. He can pull fucking streets, like the signs up, and just throw them at you like a spear.
Yeah, yep.
It gets so... It's like, it feels like a survival game where you're just walking through a big national park or whatever, and you're like, oh, here's some ammo or whatever.
Because the graphics are pretty nice.
And the graphics are decent, yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's just Bigfoot just beating you like a chimpanzee does with like the hammer fist, and throwing street signs at you like a spear, and you're trying to hit him with a flare gun, and you're just screaming at each other, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him! You're like, what the fuck?
He's on me! He's on me!
Yeah. And then he just dips again, and you're like, man, I guess we just keep walking, right?
Like, is he away?
Yeah, everybody just goes, oh, all right, as we were.
Yeah, are you good? You good? Medkit? No, I'm good. All right. Just keep fucking walking.
And it's brutal. When someone dies, you've got to like basically perform a ritual to get them back.
Yeah.
And so when they're dead for the most part.
Yeah, we've only done the ritual like twice.
Yeah. Because you got to find all these things and put them on the altar, and then get your buddy's body back to the altar. And if it's just you and somebody else playing, while you're carrying him, you're defenseless.
Yeah.
It's hardcore. It's a lot of fun though. And now it's only got the 2 maps, right? But now, is this Yellowstone map out now? Or is it coming out? It looks like it's a new trailer is out. But I don't know if the...
Let me see, I'm pulling up my library right now.
Yeah.
What about you? While I'm doing this, which one do you got?
So I was going to talk about the Bigfoot game as well, so you kind of took one off my plate, which is fine. But also thinking about Bigfoot in video games. Bigfoot in Red Dead.
Oh yeah, I've never seen him, but
so I remember
hearing about that.
He's in Undead Nightmare for the first Red Dead. Well, I say Red Dead Redemption as opposed to Red Dead Revolver, but yeah. So, and like the whole thing turns out that like he wants you to kill him because like his whole species has been hunted and is gone, and he's just sad that he's the last one alive. And you're like,
Jesus.
I feel bad, yeah. And so it's like killing him just wipes out a species, but leaving him alive is like, oh man, I don't know what the right choice is here. Because you originally go off hunting him, and then you find out that he can speak and is like sentient.
The Yellowstone Park is not out yet. It is just those 2 maps.
I gotcha. Okay,
but the
so
trailer,
like a winter park, and then like a run of the mill.
redwood.
Yeah, the redwood.
You there?
Yeah, sorry. My computer's acting odd and making me very nervous. Sorry. Okay, it seems to be working fine now. Not in the middle of recording. Not again. Not like this. So I've got the Wendigos from Until Dawn.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good game. You're the one who introduced me to that game.
Yeah. So Until Dawn's basically, for people that don't know, it's like basically take a teen horror movie of like, a cabin in the woods and something spooky happens, and all these high schoolers who are horny and drunk and whatever have to like survive. And you've got all the archetypes of like the jock and the nerd and the quote unquote slutty one, and like the main character girl, like the final girl, like from a slasher movie and things like that. And it's a really fun game, and it's the whole premise is like you play as different characters at different points. And if they die, the game just keeps going, and that's just part of your story, right? And the spoiler alert for this game that's like 5 years old now. The whole thing, it turns out to not be a slasher. It's actually a monster movie or game, and you're being chased and killed and hunted by Wendigos.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the mountains. And Chris, since you're our local cryptid specialist, what are Wendigos?
Shit.
Got it pulled up there?
No, I don't.
Fuck! Just
I accidentally hit cap lock, and it's just Wendigo.
Wendigos!
Wendigo is a mythological creature or evil spirit which originates from the folklore of Plains and the Great Lakes natives, as well as some of the First Nations. It's an evil spirit. It says they just hunt people. It's a symbol, but they're a symbol of danger and of selfishness.
Yeah. And they possess the ability to mimic. Is that correct?
Let me see here. Let me fact check this, huh?
Yeah. Pull that up. Jamie, Pull it up.
That is correct.
Yeah, they can mimic voices. But yeah, so they're pretty scary in that game, and it's a PlayStation. Is it a PlayStation exclusive Until Dawn?
I believe it is.
It's either a PlayStation exclusive or it's only on PlayStation and computer. I don't know. It might be on Steam. I don't recall though. But it has sections where like you have to hold the controller perfectly still, and there's the whole final section is like just several checks on that, and you're like, my God, this is scary. And like I tried the sheet of like just set it on the coffee table, but they make the controller vibrate, and so then it bounces it around.
It's so fucking
fucks you. Yeah.
That's what I did, and that's how I killed 3 people by accident. And I was like, well, fuck this.
Well, fuck. Yeah. But no, it's really good, and they make the Wendigos very scary.
Yeah.
Good God. What's your next one there?
Oh, well, first I was going to say, because what I'm looking at about Wendigos, they come in very different shapes and looks, I guess.
Yeah, different depictions.
But the one from Until Dawn was kind of like Gollum.
Yeah.
Except more lengthy.
Did you play the Resident Evil games?
The only one I've played was
Village.
No, I played one before that.
Biohazard.
Yeah, it could have been.
Resident Evil 7, where you're in like the swampy house.
Yeah, I played that one. That was pretty good.
First-person shooter.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, so then this will be lost on you, but there's some people that might know this. There's an enemy type in some of the original Resident Evil called Lickers, and they're very
Liquor.
Yeah, Li. Yeah, it's because their tongues are like razor sharp, and they whip you with them. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture of one. I'm gonna send it to you. You'll go,
Liquor. I barely know her.
This picture kind of sexy.
Easy.
Well, Look at the mouth on that thing.
She's single or what?
But no, it's not that. That's kind of the closest thing I could think of. Like, here's one of it on the wall. This is good content. Me sending you pictures and you going, "Oh wow."
Oh yeah, those things are meaty too. They got no skin, but they still got.
Yeah, there's no skin, so it's all the muscle. Yeah, and their brains just exposed, which seems like a flaw.
Wow, that's a video game.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing that I always think of is because like they've got those razor claws, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, taking what you said, segueing it into my next one, when you said shapeshifters, I'm not sure if there's a proper name for it, and I don't know too much about it, but it is a lot in pop culture nowadays. Originally starting in the film The Thing, it is a shape-shifting alien.
Yeah.
That's trying to essentially plague the Earth. I think the original one came out in the 50s, and then they did a reboot in the 80s, and that one was really popular.
Yeah, and then they did a weird like prequel sequel in like 2010 or 2008.
Something like that. But so the whole premise behind this, and it's in the game, it was super popular for a little bit, Among Us.
Yeah.
The same concept of kind of like that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not like a killer, kind of, but it's an alien, right? But
yeah, and kind of playing on that paranoia of it could be any of us.
Right. And
which from a historical or like societal standpoint makes sense that in the 50s and 80s that would be popular because of things like the Red Scare. The idea of the enemy could be just your neighbor.
Yeah.
And the fear of communism spreading. Probably why it was really popular and scary at the time.
Yeah. But so, I just think that one's really cool, of pop culture. You know, basically the whole, I mean, the movie and the game, if you've ever played the game Among Us or seen the movie The Thing.
Red
it's
is
just
sus, I know that.
Red is sus.
Yeah, I know the memes. I've played a couple games. I wasn't good at it.
Oh, dude, I used to play the shit out of that game, and then it became.
I do remember one time you and I played it together.
Yes,
and I was the killer. So good. No. When I was, and you and like I helped you and stuff, and then I got, and you were like, oh,
I was so mad. I remember there was one I was playing, and you were playing with me. And everyone's typing in the chat, and I had to go run and take a piss real quick. And there was an emergency meeting, and it was me, but I had everyone convinced it wasn't. And so I came back, and I was like, "It wasn't me, I swear." And they all voted me already, and they're like, "No, I'm so sorry." And then it was you. I was pissed. I had that game in my hands. I was in my prime.
I remember we got it. There was probably in that same session because I think I've only ever played it in that one sitting. You and I were playing, and it was like you, me, and two other people, and there's only one killer left, and it was you. And I figured out that it had to be you, and I'm like, and they were trying to pin it on me, and I'm like, no, and I literally pulled out the vote him, if not him, then me, you know?
Yeah.
And you were like, you son of a bitch.
That's how that works every fucking time.
Laying out the detective work too. I'm like, you were with this person, I was with this person, blah blah blah. You know, I'm laying it's gotta be him. If it's not him, then it's me. Like, all right. And they voted you, and you were like, motherfucker.
Yeah, I was so mad.
But yeah, you're right. I think the memes kind of. It just became a lot of like kids and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I do like the concept of like a shapeshifter. The idea that it could be just, like I said, it could be you, you know.
Yeah.
Including that eeriness at the end of the thing, where they, he takes the drink and is looking at his compatriot there. And there's that theory that he offered his friend the whiskey, but it was actually kerosene from where he was making the Molotov cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
And, his buddy takes a big swig of the liquor, and so and he kind of gives him that look. And so the theory is that like, he was giving him the kerosene to test to see if it was his buddy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that the implication is it's the thing.
Oh, and was this the one in the 80s?
Yeah.
When was that?
the end of the movie when they get in the snow truck and they're going to leave.
Yeah. Oh no, and they crash into the building.
Right. Well, and he offers his buddy the kerosene or the liquor. I hear you want a drink of the whiskey, and he takes a big swig, and he's like, yeah, and it's kind of like, all right, cool, we're good, we're gonna get out of here, and they're like, I can't think of the actor's name, Kurt Russell. Yeah, kind of has this like long shot of his face where you're like, this is it just why are we hovering on his face? And there's a fan theory that it's because he actually offered him kerosene instead of whiskey, and he took a big old drink of it. The fuck? My helpers.
You got your little helpers.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the theory is that it was actually kerosene, and since the thing just took a big old swig of the kerosene, it's like, whiskey, yum. He now knows that it's actually the thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, it's just a fan theory.
Sure. That's just a theory.
It's just a theory. A fan theory. These fucking dogs are losing their mind. I gotta see what's going on down there. Give me a moment. Alright, cut the shit. I don't know what we were talking about, but I really hope that mailman didn't, because the dogs got him. Are you there? Chris? Oh. You got your headphones on now, Bo? Chris?
There we go, my headphone turned off.
Jeez, Pete. Did you hear what I was saying?
No.
I said I'm back. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I hope that mailman didn't have a family because the dogs got him.
Whoa.
Like, he seemed pretty old, so hopefully his family forgot about him already.
That's what we can hope.
No, we were talking about Bigfoot, weren't we? Or were we on to something else? What did you have after I talked about Wendigos?
Yeah. So the one I was going to talk about, that cryptid that...
Oh, we talked about the thing. We were on the thing. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yurt. And so now it's actually my turn.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because you talked about shape-shifting aliens. Yeah,
that's fine.
I like that I completely blanked on Among Us. Like, just that whole bit about the thing was gone for a minute. I'm really shooken. I've been shooketh by witnessing a hardcore dog mauling. So, I was thinking about the Mothman, which, when I look up, like, Mothman movies, it really just brings up the Mothman Prophecy, which has almost nothing to do with the Mothman. You don't really see him in it. It just follows, like, an author who happens to be, like, on the bridge when it collapses, and just the weird sightings and stuff leading up to the Mothman Prophecy. Like, the whole idea of, dude, this Mothman just fucking rolled up and was like, by the by, that bridge is gonna fucking collapse. And then he dipped.
And then the bridge collapsed.
Yeah. But the one that did come to mind when I thought about the Mothman was, oddly enough, Fallout 76.
Yeah. He was in it a lot.
Like, yeah, between the cult that's in Point Pleasant, and then obviously you see you can summon Mothman himself, and he's literally just a big moth. Like, he doesn't really look like the Mothman, like the statue in Point Pleasant.
He's just a really big moth. Yeah, he kind of has like a little hunch, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I like the Mothman as like just the weird experience of like he just rolls up in the 60s, and then like kind of reappears a little bit, and then just kind of hasn't really shown up again. Like, it's such a weird, brief set of sightings, and then like the bridge collapsed in like 67, and like 46 people died, and then like nothing.
And then that was it.
Yeah, which I think adds to like is this a real thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's just this once, nobody's making up tall tales about it. I was like, did he really just come in and say he's going to dip?
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure in the area, people are always like, "Oh, I thought I saw the Mothman," you know. But on like a large scale, yeah, no, it's a pretty contained experience. Like I said, just over a couple of years leading up until the bridge collapse. In fact, I think it's a year. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, from November 15th to December 15th of the following year. So yeah, just over a year, and then like that's it. Apparently. He was added to Batman's rogues galleries as a villain.
Fucking Mothman, what was he up to?
It's called Killer Moth, but he's literally Mothman.
So he's not fooling anybody?
Yeah.
Batman's a cryptid hater?
Batman just beating the shit out of Bigfoot, the Mothman, the fucking White River Monster.
Yeah.
What was it? The Skunk Ape?
Yeah, the Florida Skunk Ape.
Yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, Mothman. Dope as shit. I like it.
Yeah. I like Mothman. I can get behind him. And apparently, like, everyone down there, like, everybody from Virginia. Is it West Virginia or Virginia?
In West Virginia.
West Virginia. Everyone in West Virginia believes in it.
Oh, yeah, there's like a Mothman festival and shit.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's just like a thing that happens. It's like, oh, yeah, it's the moth. Like, what do you mean? Of course it's real.
Yeah, come on. So. He's almost like a folk, not a hero necessarily, but people think that, it wasn't a malicious thing. He didn't make the bridge collapse. He was trying to warn people that the bridge was going to collapse.
Yeah.
And so people are like, he's a helper.
He's a hero.
Yeah. But what do you got after that?
So after that, another cryptid creature-ish I have that plays a lot in pop culture is Krampus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Krampus is a goat-like demon from mythology dating back in Germany, who often showed up during the Christmas season to punish bad kids.
He's basically bad Santa.
He's bad Santa. He shows up in the 2015 movie Krampus. He also shows up in a bunch of other stuff. But the 2015 film is really kind of what I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Because he looks fucking terrifying in that movie.
Yeah, he does.
Like, they kind of give him more of a Santa-ish look with, like, the red robe on the white beard. But he has, like, horns and this hood, and he has this huge hunch on him, and he's got, like, those evil hands that are just by his chest. He's got hooves for feet. Because he's goat. But, I mean, I remember that movie was kind of silly. Like, the movie wasn't too scary. But I remember the scenes where Krampus was in there gave me the willies.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, almost a horror comedy.
Yeah, because there were parts I was like, that's spooky.
Yeah.
But,
and like, everybody fucking dies.
Well, they all come back at the end, but...
Not really, they're inside the snow globe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. On his shelf.
Yeah. But yeah, shit like that's terrifying. Like, I couldn't tell you why. Like, I'll fuck with it. Anything demon? Like, I don't...
I was gonna ask if you got kidnapped by a mall Santa Claus one time, and that's why.
Listen,
you're like, I didn't think you were gonna bring.
What happens in 06 stays in 06. All right, we don't talk about it.
I thought you agreed that you would on there.
No, but like,
I lied.
I lied. A lot of my friends here back in high school, we used to always do like fucking ghost hunting. Right, we'd go to old spooky places.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but there were some points where I'd start sweating. I'm like, all right, this is
getting scary.
It's getting kind of scary, man. But I didn't want to seem like a bitch, so,
Right, yes, you hung out.
I pushed through, but man, yeah, I went home and my knees were shaking. So I got to sit down for a little bit.
Is there anybody here with us? Get out. And you're just sprinting down the steps.
Yeah, I don't fuck around with that kind of stuff, man.
Bad juju.
A Ouija board? I won't ever touch one.
Yeah, Hasbro is straight in contact with the other world,
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up. I want to talk about, and we're starting to stretch the boundaries of like what a cryptid is.
Yes.
Fucking. I like. What did you think I was going to bring up?
I don't know why, and this is going to be awful. And if we got to cut it, that's okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, we decided that this had to be cut.
Whoa. I like that energy. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Don't be afraid to make edits, So, what is it? You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's right.
But no, Slenderman is what I was going to talk about. So, obviously, Slenderman's not necessarily a cryptid. He's technically a creepypasta. But we had talked about off-air the idea of, like, modern folklore basically being like creepypasta. The internet creates these scary things, and especially with the invention of, like, YouTube and being able to just shoot a video on your phone and makes like a spooky short film and post it for everybody else to see. Well, I actually want to do a little bit of like history of Slenderman, like you talked about a little bit with Bigfoot and bringing up what like the Wendigo is and things like that. Because apparently Slenderman started off as like basically a creepypasta, but there was a creative Photoshop contest on Something Awful, which is a forum. And basically the idea was that they were supposed to do these photoshops of a paranormal picture, basically. And so they took pictures from that are like black and white photos of kids on playgrounds, and put, in the background, this weird, tall, slender man with no facial features and just strangely long limbs.
And a suit.
And a suit, exactly. And created this lore behind it that he's a mythical creature depicted as a tall, thin figure wearing a black suit and a blank face. And according to legend, he can stretch or shorten his arms at will and has tentacle-like appendages protruding from his back. And depending on the interpretations of the myth, the creature can cause memory loss, insomnia, paranoia, coughing fits, photograph/video distortions, and he can teleport at will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's inspired a bunch of fan art, creepypastas, mockumentary series, games. Yeah, I mean, it was like really the first major like indie horror game that I remember playing. Like seeing someone play, like no, not trying to throw any shade or anything here, but like I back when PewDiePie was a thing, he played what was it, Slender the 8 Pages. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, that looks good. And I was like, well, I'll download it. And that game scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was scary. It was really scary.
And then there's a YouTube series called Marble Hornets that is pretty student filmy, like from an acting standpoint and some of that. But like I remember it scared the shit out of my sister and I. Like it's definitely the kind of thing that you don't watch by yourself at like 2 a.m. You know what I mean? Like on summer vacation.
Dude, I fucking hate to this day, I'm a grown ass man. And I will still, if I can't watch scary movies at like super nighttime or anything like that.
Yeah, when you're by yourself and you just get in your own head.
Yeah, paranormal. Fuck, I'm done. I'll like wash my hair and I'll like wash my face really quick so I can open up my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. Nah, ain't no ghost getting me. Catch a lacking.
No way, no how.
Catch these hands is what they catch.
And then a weird, like, gonna bring it down a couple notches here. There was a real life, like, attempted murder caused by...
I know this!
Slenderman,
holy shit! Yeah, oh my god! Yeah.
So, I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia here just so I don't get any of the facts wrong. So, on May 31st of 2014... Are you laughing at the idea of pulling up Wikipedia to get facts? Yeah. On May 31st in 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, United States, two 12-year-old girls, Anissa Weier and Morgan Geyser, lured their friend Peyton Leutner into a forest and stabbed her 19 times in an attempt to become proxies of the fictional character Slenderman. Leutner crawled to a road where she was found, and she actually recovered after 6 days in the hospital, which is insane to me. That like 19 stab wounds, and she's what did we say, 12 years old?
And she lived.
And she lived and drug herself to safety. But so Weier and Geyser, the two girls, were found not guilty by mental disease or defect, which I think is fair. That there's obviously some sort of mental unwellness there, right?
Sure.
For them to think that if we kill this girl, we're basically going to become Slenderman.
Mm-hmm.
And they were committed to mental health institutions for sentences of 25 years to life and 40 years to life, respectively. So after 7 years, Weier was granted early release and will be under supervision until the age of 37. But Geyser remains in her service. So, yeah, what the hell? So apparently, I don't want to get into all the rundowns of everything. But just obviously, it's something that had a major impact on the internet and things like that. And obviously, this is it didn't like cause a bunch of killings and things like that. But the fact that it had enough widespread knowledge and input or impact that like these two girls who were unwell saw this and were like, oh man, it was convincing enough to them that they believed it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's and nuts that they were able to 19 times, dude. That's a lot, man.
Yeah. And, like, they were her friends.
Yeah, imagine the trust issues you have after that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane.
Imagine, you don't want to talk to nobody.
Mm-mm. But, yeah, I remember reading that. Like I forgot that it was all the way back in 2015. It feels like it was more recent than that. But, yeah, that was major news and stuff. And, Slenderman, just the idea of an internet-created folklore leading into video games, movies, and then, like, a real-life attempted... What impact?
Yeah.
You got any more, or you think you want to head into your what you're thinking about?
There was one I wanted to go off of that you talked about, but I can't remember it.
Was it Siren Head?
Oh, no. But it was still part of creepypasta.
Yeah.
The one that like really stuck out to me that I found fascinating, per cryptid corner, naturally I'm big into like government conspiracies. Now, do I believe all of them? That's where it gets wishy-washy, but I still think they're interesting to read.
Yeah.
But there is a creepypasta that I'm not gonna lie. I if someone came out and said like, you know what, I think this is real, I'd probably believe it. Back in like the 1940s during World War II, Russia had captured 3 enemies, and they kept them in this chamber where they're trying experimental gases, right? Not the fart.
Right, yeah, they're not just shitting on you.
But this gas that they were trying out was they were going to give to their soldiers to see. Essentially, it's to prevent them from sleeping.
Yeah.
So that, like, when the enemy is sleeping,
They're not.
Russia's not. They're still up and very active.
Right.
So they're testing everything, and they tell them, you guys will be in here for like, I think it was like 10 days, right, with this gas, and then they'll release them and let them go home.
Yeah.
Or if not, they'd get killed. So really, it's like, you're going to do this.
Right, yeah.
And this gas is released, and like, yep, they don't sleep, and everything's going fine. And they all start going crazy, and like one of them starts screaming to the point where like it rips his esophagus to the point where he can't speak anymore.
Jesus. Yeah.
And one of them, like, I think one of them died.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one of them,
they
I think,
eventually devolve into cannibalism.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. They eat one of them.
Yeah.
And that's how they die. The other one starts screaming and like starts scratching his face to the point where he can't talk.
He's out his eyes.
Yeah. And then one of them, he doesn't want to leave the room. He says he wants to go back in. He wants the gas. And he starts going on saying like,
we all want
this gas is right. It's a gas. But he wants to go back in the room, and they're talking about this gas like it's a deity.
Yeah.
But all of them, well, both of them, soon as their eyes closed, because like it was like as soon as their eyes closed or something like that. What?
Yeah, you've got this retelling is riveting. I got to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah. No.
They
think
take
you're
him
right.
out.
Yeah, I think you're on the right path. Yeah, it was when as soon as they closed their eyes,
they died.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time they closed their eyes, they died. Both their hearts stopped. And I was just like, holy shit.
Gone.
But I mean,
gone.
That I don't think that sounds too far-fetched, especially for governments.
Right.
Like, especially during that time, they were doing ungodly things. So, I mean, that doesn't, if I read that, and I could probably believe something like that.
I could buy it.
But that was the only one I had left.
Yeah. So I'll mention one, but it's a super recent thing, and so it's not like Slenderman where it's got a bunch of things made off of it. But literally for the like weekend game jams where like it's an indie game development competition basically. Somebody created a creature called a Siren Head.
Okay. Now I know what the Siren Head looks like, and we talked about it briefly, but other than that, I know nothing.
Yeah, so let me pull up the
fill me in, baby.
Monster Wiki. So, Siren Head is a humanoid monster created in 2018 by the Canadian artist respectfully known as Trevor Henderson. Siren Head was described by Henderson as the, quote, static physical form of unfathomable supernatural entity. Word. Siren Head is approximately 40 feet tall, can see without having any eyes, doesn't eat despite having organic teeth, is rarely seen in areas with large populations, and is usually stationary but can move very quickly if need be. It uses its telephone pole-like appearance to hunt humans. Siren Head has become extremely popular over the recent years after very well-known YouTubers such as Markiplier, PewDiePie, and Jacksepticeye made their own videos about the creature and its various media and unofficial. Many fan-made video games featuring Siren Head exist, though they are not made by Henderson himself. I
know they added a mod in Fallout for.
Yeah, it got really popular, like they talked about when those YouTubers were playing the video games about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is scary, this idea of just this giant. I mean, it looks like a tree or a pole. It's very tall and thin, and its face, it just looks like the tornado sirens almost. And the fact that you'll just be like out in the woods and just a siren will start going off, and you're like, what the hell is that? And then just comes stomping out of the woods and eats you? What the hell?
Pass.
Yeah. Welcome back to Gas or Pass. Getting eaten by Siren Head?
Pass.
Yeah, big pass. But no, yeah, I do. I just, again, the idea of like just an internet created folklore creature, it makes me think of the way that storytelling has evolved through the way that internet has changed things.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do think it's crazy how, like you were saying, they just create these things. Which, dude, you said the whole thing with Slenderman. It made me think of. Do you remember when the fucking clowns were a thing?
Oh yeah,
dude, I remember I was still in school at the time.
Yeah,
and
you would have been in like middle school because I think I was in high school.
Yeah, and I remember we had to lock the doors and go on a lockdown because I think it was like fake, but somebody called in saying that there's a group of clowns. No, there's a group of clowns walking around the building. And so they locked down and called, parents and police and stuff like that. All I remember is I didn't have to do my math test that day, and I was like, score.
I just like the idea that for like a summer in like 2011, there's clowns out to kill people.
Everywhere, dude. That seems like yesterday. That was forever ago, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. Well, it leads me to a question for you. What you been thinking about, bud?
Yeah. So welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. All right, people. It's what you've been waiting for, cocksuckers. Wake up. It's all over. So, for, if you're new and you haven't listened to the old couple episodes, I've been talking about just doing a huge deep dive about aliens. And it was supposed to be last week, but I needed a little bit more time. But finally, it's here. It's now. It's fucking loud. It's gas.
Easy.
So, I'll start off with talking about mainly two of the species of alien that I'll be talking mostly about.
The Norwegians?
The Norwegians, that is correct. But the first one is going to be your common, what they call gray alien. They are extraterrestrial beings who frequently are subjects of close encounters and alien abduction claims. The details of such claims vary widely, but typically grays are described as human-like with small bodies and smooth gray-colored skin, enlarged hairless heads, and large black eyes. Let's see, and then it jumps down here. But this one here, they get their name, a lot of it from Roswell.
Sure.
Which if you don't know Roswell is a city in New Mexico, the southern east of New Mexico to be exact, that had a bunch of sightings, but one of the biggest sightings for an alleged UFO crash was in 1947, and we'll be digging into that later, but I mean, it's at a point where there's UFO museums, research centers there, panels, libraries, everything like that they have just about, alien interactions, which is huge. So the first one here that I wanted to talk about, let me see. Hold on. Many Americans, this is the Roswell Aliens, and their ship are still there. And this is what the theory is. So many Americans believe a UFO, in parentheses, and its extraterrestrial crew crash landed in the New Mexico desert near Roswell on July 2nd of 1947. They also believe that the site was cleaned up by Air Force from nearby Roswell Army Air Force bases, which would make sense because, the time given.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Eyewitnesses reported that a 3-foot-tall gray-skinned alien died in the crash, according to Lauren Coleman, the co-author of "quote-unquote" Weird Ohio. Weird Ohio. Ohio's not real. It's just a given.
Yeah.
I love seeing those memes where it's just Ohio's not real.
That's the idea that Elden Ring just takes place in Ohio.
Yeah. They and their space vessel were shipped off to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, notorious for the name Hangar 18. Everyone else has been trying to get there ever since. Senator Barry Goldwater supposedly asked the USAF Curtis Lee May if he could see what was inside. Lee May told the senator that not only could he not get in, but he should never ask again.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Don't
stuff like that.
Bring it up.
Yeah, don't ever ask. So, I mean, I think that shit's nuts. But let me see. I can click this link here.
Do it, baby.
Dive a little more. Well, it dives in a little more of the next one I wanted to talk about. These are all just a couple cool sightings that I was poking through.
Yeah, neato.
So, but the second one does intertwine with the first one, talking about the tunnels under Wright State University were originally meant for the Air Force, which is by the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah.
So, just down the street from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is Wright State University. The school has a convenient system of underground tunnels that allow students to make their way to the class despite sometimes chilly weather outside. And it says that there's claims of almost 2 miles of tunnels that are underground, which is nuts.
That's fucking bananas. Like,
some locals believe that tunnels. Yeah, I mean, just underground. Like, of course they'd have to originally be. What school would fucking do that?
Right? Yeah.
Like, no one cares. But some locals believe that during the Cold War, the base was a prime target for the Soviet ICBMs. Or ICBMs.
Intercontinental Ballistic Missile.
Bingo. So naturally, they assumed that the tunnels were a part of the base's plan to escape nuclear blast and radioactive fallout. Others think the tunnels were a part of an abandoned separate military facility. The truth, as usual, is far less interesting, according to Wright State's newsroom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, of course they're going to say something that pushes it on the rug. The first building on campus was basically off the grid. When the next building went up 2 years later, the electrical systems of the two needed to be merged, so they built a simple tunnel between the two buildings. Eventually, they started allowing everyone to use the maintenance tunnels to move between buildings. Which doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up to me.
No, not at all.
No. Since when would they let them use the maintenance tunnels?
Right, that's fucking...
That's fucking... Yeah, I don't buy it. Not one bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't buy that if it were free.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Dayton. Okay, so here is more about Hangar 18, which is the one we learned about. Still part of Wright-Patterson.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. This is Dayton. This is new, so please bear with me. Yeah, this is a huge thing. Anyways. So a lot of these we are talking about do involve Air Force museums. As well as Ohio. So whatever is going on in Ohio, we need to check out. But this one here...
Ohio is for lovers? Maybe Ohio is for aliens. Ha!
Bingo.
Got it.
So this one here does take a little bit of a jump, but I still thought it was interesting to hear, especially since the Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum and Roswell. So, Chris Woodyard, author of Haunted Ohio, believes she's constantly followed while walking around the cavernous museum as she tries to read the information panels. She writes that many airmen were very attached to their plans, and some of the pilots seemingly live in them still. Ooh. The Hopalong is a Skiorsky UH-19B. I don't know planes that well. That would medevac troops in Korea and Vietnam. The museum staff says that they see the pilot in the seat flipping switches and trying to get home. The seat is actually still stained with that pilot's blood. And then it jumps to... Oh, there's a couple. I thought there was only one. Well,
fun.
there's another... It's still in the same museum. I just missed this part, I guess. A young Japanese boy is said to hang around the boxcar, the B-29, that dropped the Fat Man, the atomic bomb on Nagasaki, Japan.
The atomic bomb.
Stop. This is... all you hear...
Hold on.
it like cut out ever so slightly, so it was just silent for a minute, and then you just faintly hear. No, dropped the Fat Man, the atomic bomb, on Nagasaki, Japan. He supposedly comes out at night when very few people are around. But then it shows a picture here of the plane that dropped the bomb. And I think that's very sad.
Yeah, it is.
And then, let's see here.
I gotta tell you, it's a shame that isn't your last thing, because that segues into my heart, my what you're thinking about really well.
Oh, shit. Well, do we want
No, you're good. No, you're fine.
So the fifth one I have here is going to be the Air Force's engineering alien technology. And this still goes back to the Roswell crash.
Okay.
All right? Dude, I'm telling you, I got it. Like, I did. Like, it's all connected.
Welcome to a week in the life of me. You did research.
So, the Roswell crash wasn't the only extraterrestrial crash in the U.S., depending on who you ask. Some allege that there were more before 1952, and all the debris and their pilots with blue-green skin this time were all taken to Wright Pat. One of the crashes held as many as 16 alien bodies.
Jesus.
It says here, when there were any survivors, American medicine killed the aliens trying to save them. Cellular genetic research is supposedly conducted by the Air Force there. Another crash yielded a ship made by a lightweight material impenetrable by any earthly means. Whenever a UFO crash happens, the wreckage is sent to Wright Pat to be reverse engineered, or so the story goes.
Did you say that Wright Pat was a museum as well as an airbase?
There is the whole theory is, I mean, this was maybe a couple years ago. They moved. There is there's Wright Pat Air Force Museum, and then underneath there's a big theory and a conspiracy going around that there's a Wright Pat Air Force
research base.
Yeah, that's all underneath.
Yeah, we gotta go there.
Yeah, dude, we gotta make a trip.
Yeah, break in.
Because, where are the aliens?
That's a quick way to get shot.
Bingo. But some believe technologies from UFOs at Wright Pat include fiber optics, lasers, night vision, and the integrated circuit and particle beams. So they believe that those are some of the ones that we did not figure out on our own.
Damn. Yeah, it could be that we just reverse engineered it.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, oh man, these guys were onto something.
And then, let's see. Here.
But on the same note, do we want to take notes from the dudes that crash landed? What losers?
What?
So do we want to take notes from the dudes that crash landed? Like,
no. Boof.
Obviously it didn't work.
I just imagine they are too fucking parent. Right? Nobody's watching nobody's watching the wheel, and they're all just fucking breaking it down. And then the last second, they're fuck, and they try to pull out, and they're all just die. Right? And we're like, what marvelous creatures! Yeah. And they just got fucking just like Malibu and Tito up there, and just
say it was 3 of them.
Huh?
How many of the bodies?
It says that there are 16 originally.
Jesus!
Like, 16 bodies, so 16 aliens. Just
a charter bus. It was a party bus is what it was. It was someone's bachelor party.
Nobody's watching the wheel.
Someone's bachelor party and they just got fucked up.
Dude, I am just dying over the fact that one of these aliens is like, dude, I gotta step away from the wheel right now. What's happening is too important.
Yeah. He thought he put on the cruise control, you know?
Yeah, he autopilot. He's, all right, I gotta get back there.
Yeah, and they're all like, there he is, you know?
There he is.
And then the computers are like, whack, whack, whack. And like, oh, shit. I was driving. Fuck. Moving
They're
in
all
slow
ripping
motion.
bongs, taking shots.
Yeah. He is fucked up, and he's like, I'm good to drive.
I'm good to drive.
I'm solid. Like, they tried to take the keys from him, but he's just like, I'm good, I'm solid.
Oh my god.
It was just a fucking party bus.
God damn, that's how I wish it was. Like, if aliens are really like that, I want it.
They're just getting turned up.
Oof.
Fuck.
But, other than that, Colin, what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about
all right, so yeah, hard handbrake turn here. There's this fucking podcast that I've always listened to like off and on, but I've picked it back up here recently, and it's called Hardcore History.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm I'm not like I don't think I'm gonna bolster his listeners because he's like an OG podcaster. He's been doing it for like a better part of 2 decades, as long as podcasting's been a thing, really. But he is a historian. He's a history buff and a journalist who has started. He does his podcast, and basically he does very in-depth, long-form podcasts that are really well researched and well edited together. And he'll do like 6-hour episodes.
Jesus.
About different topics, and a lot of times he'll do, so like a multi-part series. So like what my gateway into his content was a 7-part series, I think, on World War I called A Blueprint for Armageddon.
Okay.
And it is phenomenal. It does a really good job of like humanizing a lot of things because it's hard to like empathize with somebody 100 years ago, right? And so it does a really good job of like giving you primary sources of like here's a first person perspective of someone that was there, right?
Right.
And he does really good. He's got a good narration voice. And his whole thing about it being hardcore history is he kind of talks about some of the stuff that might have been glossed over in history class.
Sure.
So, like for example, you mentioned the atomic bombs, and I've been listening here recently when I picked it back up to a series called Supernova in the East, and it's about the Japanese Empire leading up to the end of World War II, and basically their rise and then eventual, fall there at the end.
Yeah.
And just some of the stuff that I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, obviously, I've learned about World War II, and I know that the Pacific was really not a great place for any of the people fighting there on either side. It was, a pretty nasty war. But some of the details that get either left out or glossed over in like history class or even on like the History Channel is astounding. Like some of the methods of torture and the Japanese at that time were the soldiers were like known for committing suicide to avoid capture.
Oh my god!
And not just like in like the ceremonial ways that you picture that you've like might have seen in movies, like what's it called, seppuku.
Yeah, that's what my first thought was.
But like he talks about, there's several different eyewitness accounts of them like pulling the pin on a grenade and just holding it to their head.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and it's like those are things that you don't know, like that's how bad it was, And so then you're like, man, that puts a whole different light on, when a lot of times when people think about World War II, they think about, the war in Europe and then like the dropping of the atomic bombs. But there was a ton of really hard, nasty war that took place in the Pacific way before, the bombs were dropped. And I just think he does a really good job of somehow managing to stay unbiased, where like he doesn't paint the Japanese as like a fully just one color, they're the bad guy, right?
Sure.
He talks about like on a person to person level, here's one Japanese soldier who thought this wasn't great, and he does a good job of laying the groundwork within their culture of here's how culturally they could get to a place where that was commonplace. Which I think is an interesting way to do it, so that it's not strictly like, American exceptionalism or Japanese bad or anything like that. It's strictly here's the facts and here's the story. And he does a really good job of that with everything he does. And yeah, like it's easy to binge it if you're into history. Obviously, you have to have an interest in that. But yeah, he does a good job of conveying it in a narrative way, and I think people should check it out.
That makes me, that makes you think, like, because obviously, I do feel knowing the importance of history and how fucked up it was. It's like I think that would have been, I say neat, but not in that kind of way. I think it would have been neat to know that, to get a better understanding. But it is kind of like, that's very
intense.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you, at what age do you think?
Right, yeah, when do you learn that? Yeah.
Right. because I remember, God, I can't remember when it was, but I know it was late middle school, early high school, could have been. I read a book about this woman who lived in some of the camps the U.S. made for Japanese people
the
during
internment camps.
Yeah, and like,
Was it Farewell to Manzanar?
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's like the only book we read about it, and I remember being fascinated because I was like, "Whoa,
This happened? Wait, what?
Yeah, we did this." And so, like, there still is that big, we make America look amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of blind spots in world history when it comes to, and it's not just the Americans that do it. Every country does it.
Sure.
Well, a lot of countries do it. To kind of glaze over some of the not as pretty things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you figure, the example I always use, I remember the Trail of Tears was like maybe a page in the history book.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gets brushed over when it's basically like equivalent to a genocide.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just brush it away and not. Oh yeah, no, I vaguely remember learning about that in history. But
Yeah, but nothing. I'm trying to think of remember any specific details, but I do remember it was.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
In another world, I think it'd be very interesting to be a historian major.
Yeah, and that's what he talked about. I've heard him talk. He's done like some interviews where he was a guest, and he's talked. His name's Dan Carlin, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Yeah, so if you want to look him up, it's Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. Again, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
He's talked about the fact that he went to school for, I think, to be a historian or a journalist, whichever way it was. One of his main professors was like, if you're going to do that, you want to also like have a focus in the other. So if he went to school for journalism, I believe it was, he went to school for journalism and they were like, you should be a historian as well, because the way that history is written about can inform the way you write about the present and the future, which I think is a pretty interesting way to look at the world. And you can definitely tell that he has a journalistic background because he does write well. Like I said, he presents it very well, and he's got a good voice for it as well. He's a good broadcaster. But yeah, that's all I've got on that. Do you have anything you outside of your cryptids, your aliens?
Lately I've been playing Uncharted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I finally started getting back into that.
I beat Stray, by the way.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. I gotta finish that game. There's a shit ton of games I gotta play.
Yeah.
There's a game my buddy recommended. He actually fucking bought it. He's a gem of a man. Called Amori. That he says it's a really interesting game. So I gotta play that.
I've heard of that. I haven't played it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've heard it's good.
Yeah. He says it's a real heart tugger. It pulls at your heartstrings a lot. So I figured that'd be a lot of fun to play. But yeah, I started replaying Uncharted, and it is, like every time I pick it up and I start playing it, I get lost in it, and it, I don't know, just kind of like it brings back good memories, just of like simple, it's just like I love the story. I feel like I can just get behind it, and just hold such a nostalgic feeling, and it's amazing because I can just constantly play the game over and over again, and I wouldn't get tired of it.
Yeah, relive it.
Because it truly is, the first, second, third, and fourth story. It all has a nice flow. I think there's not a bad game. I don't think any of them are bad. I think they're all bangers. They tie in perfectly, but still have a new story, keeping things fresh. Just not a dull moment in it, and that's why I feel like I can just, as soon as I'm done with it, wait maybe a couple months, and I feel like it's kind of like watching a movie.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the show Breaking.
Yeah, there's just so.
I've done for a while there, I did annual watches of it. I haven't watched it in the last couple years, but yeah.
But that's just what I've been thinking about. I got a bunch of games I got to play. Something was going on with my PC. It's not letting me download some certain games. It says something about storage, but it's all that Blue Chew.
I'll say all those weird sites you've been going to.
Strictly for Blue Chew. Yeah, but I gotta go take it somewhere, get it fixed, or I don't know. But other than that, not really. Oh shit! No, actually, there is. I bought an original Atari.
Oh damn!
It's an OG, wood
paneling and everything.
Yeah, wood paneling and everything, and the games I got for it were Pac-Man.
Okay.
Shit, hold on. Let me...
Jeez. Wouldn't it be nice?
Okay. So I got Pac-Man, Kangaroo, Atlantis, Star Master, and Space Invaders.
Space Invaders!
Dude, oh yeah, all the OG games.
OG. How many times do you think we could say OG?
OG.
OG golly.
But no, so yeah, I got my hands on one of those. I'm excited to set it up and everything like that, and I have to get the correct HDMI cord for it. My dog is coming down to say hello.
Howdy. I got something you would be excited to on.
What?
My penis.
Whoa. Anyways.
Yeah, that's too aggressive. Apologize.
But yeah, that's all I've really been thinking about.
Well, again, we want to thank you guys so much for your support. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a great review. Tell your friends about it. Share it on social media. Like you joked about earlier when you tried to do my outro. When you realized you were watching a lot of stuff you word of mouth can be one of the biggest endorsements. Chris, if people want to get in touch with us, give us some feedback, ask us questions, send us links to stuff we shouldn't be clicking on. How would they do that?
Of course, you can. You can always reach out to us. Our YouTube is Simply Whelmed Podcast. Our Facebook and Instagram is Simply Whelmed Podcast. Our Twitter handle is Whelmed_simply. And then our email is, of course, simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
You fucking said it's Simply Whelmed. What a loser.
Whelmed.
Simply Whelmed mailbag.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, so I'm thinking next week. Next week it is. We'll be discussing Prey, which should be out on Hulu this Friday. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I thought it was in theater. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. No, even when I brought it up the first time on the show, it was a Hulu exclusive, so shows how much you listen, I remember.
Bingo.
That wasn't a fart. Pretty excited about that movie. I hope it's going to be good. It's the same director as 10 Cloverfield Lane, so I've got a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to poop my pants, so thank everyone so much for listening. That's the end of the show, Chris. Tell everybody bye.
Bye.
Oh, fuck, it's coming out. Fuck.